Hi everyone. All right, we're going to get started with our first class. This is the golf mobility class, so we're excited to get you going on this. We're going to start out with one of the most basic movements of the golf swing, and people don't really think about this as being a crucial piece. But the pelvis is really one of the most important moving parts that we have. It serves as a stable base, but it also serves as a strong action coordinator as well. So what we're going to show you first is a very simple movement that is crucial to kind of improving your body's movement during the golf swing. We're going to show you a pelvic tilt. So pelvic tilt is basically just rolling the pelvis up and back. That's going to improve your spinal mobility. It's going to improve your pelvic mobility as well as your hip mobility, and also give you a little bit of additional strength through the core as well. So I'm going to come down here on my back. And you're going to bring the knees up. You're going to be bent at about 90 degrees, maybe a little bit more. Back's going to stay nice and flat on the ground. What you're aiming to do here is take your pelvis and you're going to roll the pelvis back. That's going to flatten your lower back against the ground. You're also going to tighten through the abdominals as you do that. You might feel a light little stretch in the back, maybe a little bit in the bottom of the hips, but you want to make sure that you're increasing the tension through the core as you're doing that. That really helps to initiate some of the motions in the swing. So you're going to roll the pelvis back, flatten the lower back, tighten through the abdominals, and hold for about 5 seconds. And then relax out. We're going to try that 10 times, nice and slow. Roll the pelvis back, looking for a little bit of a stretch. Make sure the back is flattening into the ground. Tighten through the abdominals, 5 seconds. And relax out. And back, tighten, and relax. And again, make sure you're not coming all the way off the ground. That's important. Some of you have probably done a bridge before. This is the initiation phase of the bridge, but you don't want to come all the way up. Relax out. Roll the pelvis, hold, and relax. Again, roll back, and relax. One more. Roll back, keep it nice and tight, and relax. It's important too that you're breathing appropriately. Make sure that you're exhaling as you roll back. That's kind of your contraction for this particular exercise. And then you want to inhale on the release. 2 more. Roll back, back nice and flat. Keep the abdominals tight. And release. And 1 more here. Roll back. And release out and rest. Okay? We're going to do another round of this just to kind of get you used to the motion and get you loosened up a little bit more. Take a nice rest. You can stay in the same position, or if you want to sit up, give yourself a little stretch or two, that's fine as well. All right, here we go. We're going to go for round 2. You're going to rotate back. Bottom's going to come just slightly off the ground. Keep the back nice and flat. Tummy tight, and relax out. And again, we'll do 10. Roll back, and release. Roll back. Good. And release. Keep in mind that pelvis is really, that motion is really important to getting your golf swing initiated. All those muscles that are around the pelvis are crucial for giving you some power. We can get you moving better in this first class, in the first series, then we can start improving your strength with that extra range of motion as you're going into it. And release. 1 more, roll back. Back flat. Release. Back. Release. And 2 more. Roll. And relax. And last one. Roll back nice and flat. Make sure those abs are tight. And relax. Okay, that's your first exercise. Lauren's going to come in and show you the next.
Alrighty, so following in that same vein, we are going to come back down onto the ground, or you just stay right there actually. Our next exercise, it's actually our first yoga pose, is a supine twist or a reclined twist. There's a saying that a happy spine is a mobile spine. And so this is going to work into getting some movement there to the back line of the body. So we'll start lying down, coming onto your back. And just like you started in those pelvic tilts, we want to have the knees bent, the feet on the ground. All right, so you feel the low back down against the mat. We'll start with the right leg. Pick the right thigh up, cross it over the left. So crossing one thigh atop the other, arms to the side of the body, and scoot your hips a couple of inches to the right. Allow the knees from here to roll over to the left. You'll notice the right hip is fully lifting up. Take it slow until you come all the way over as far as you can into the twist. All right, so once the knees get settled, once the thighs are settled here, bringing the arms out to the side of the body and to a T, looking over the right shoulder, if that's comfortable, on the neck. If it's not, you can look right up at the ceiling. Palm up or down, whatever feels better. Just keep the hand about shoulder height. And we're going to just stay here and breathe. So important is that you're breathing in through the nose, a big, long breath, longer than you would normally inhale. And the exhale is also through the nose. Longer exhale than what you would normally take in your normal, just everyday breathing here. So activating this deeper breath. And as you do that, you may start to notice that the longer that we hold this, the longer that we take these deep breaths, that the body is starting to relax here even more, perhaps deeply into the twist. Every time that you exhale, imagine that you are wringing out a dishcloth, that the torso is that dishcloth, and you're drawing the navel back towards the spine, contracting through the abdominals. Good. And we'll stay here. We want to aim for about 60 seconds. So that might equate to about 10 long breaths in and out through the nose. For some of you, if you want to take it a little bit deeper, if you want a deeper stretch here, a deeper rotation of the spine, it might feel nice to take that right arm and then reach it up past your head. If you do that, making sure that you're keeping the shoulder grounded on to the floor. And as you breathe again, you might notice a little bit deeper sensation coming maybe into the lats here a little bit more. That left hand can come and rest along the right thigh. Take a couple more breaths here. So active breathing, remember, in and out through the nose, navel to spine on the exhale. And then to come out of this, if the right arm is lifted up overhead, let's bring the right arm down to the side. And very slowly, we're going to bring the knees back in through center to go very slow. Oh, that should feel super yummy. Readjust the hips back through center, uncross your legs. Adjust the shoulders here if you need to. And same thing other side. So this time left thigh crosses the right. Scoot your hips a couple of inches to the left. Let gravity do its thing as the knees roll over to the right. Left hip will fully lift off of the ground. So we're getting this nice thoracic rotation. Remember the arms coming off into a T. If that's comfortable, you can also take the right hand to that left thigh or left knee. Important here is that you keep the shoulders grounded. If that left shoulder lifts and rolls up, we lose some of the integrity of the twist. So keep the left shoulder grounded. And again, that active breathing in and out through the nose. Bringing out through the abdominal with the exhale, navel to spine. And if you did it on the other side, extending the left arm up past your head, you're going to get a little bit deeper here into the side body, maybe a little bit deeper into the lats. You might feel this. And you may notice that my knees are really close to the ground. If you're not quite there, if your knees are higher up, that is A-okay, right? So wherever you're at, know that's where you're supposed to be. Let's take a few more long breaths here. That slow breath in through the nose. Maybe the eyes are closed right now. All right, let's take one more full round of breath here, in through the nose. And out of the nose, remember navel to spine. If the left arm is overhead, let's bring it down to the side of the body. And slowly, slowly bring those knees back in through center. Readjust your hips. So squaring the hips off. And then just pause here, give yourself just a second to let all of that settle and notice how that feels on either side of the body. Alrighty, and from here we're going to move on to the next exercise. So Rhett's going to come back and join you.
Okay, the next exercise we have for you, it's called hip drops. The purpose of this exercise is to really improve the rotation of your hips. As you already know, rotation is so important in the golf swing, and one of the two most important areas of the body that needs to rotate and improve with that rotation is the hips. We have different types of rotation that occur at different points in the swing. This exercise is a really good one to get you going in all those directions, okay? I'm going to show you from two different angles here on this exercise because I think it's important for you to appreciate the angle down the line here to actually see how far the hips are going and that sort of thing. So I'm going to show you that one first, and then I'll show you the other angle. So you're going to come down onto your back, knees bent, very similar to the first exercise, the pump and tilt. Now what I'd like you to do is you're going to try to widen your feet as best you can to a level that's comfortable for you. You might already feel a light stretch in the hips, and that's perfectly fine. If it's too much stretch or if it's a little uncomfortable in this position, just walk the feet in a little bit more. You can leave them there. Just find that comfort zone for you. So we call these hip drops because we're going to basically just drop the legs over to one side, and then we're going to drop them over to the other side. We're going to do about a 5-second hold on each end, and then kind of repeat that motion. So let the knees just fall to the side. You want to keep your lower back and your upper back nice and flat against the ground, and just let gravity take you over. You're going to feel a stretch on both hips in different places, okay? So you're really getting more of an internal rotation stretch on the right side and an external rotation stretch on the left side, both of which are important in the golf swing. About a 5-second hold, and then you're going to come back to neutral, reset, and slowly roll to the other side. Notice I'm not going very quickly, and my upper body is staying down. Just let those hips slowly roll to the sides. Get a nice stretch in each hip, and back to the center. Now at this point, you've already noticed that you probably have one side that's a little tighter than the other. Typically, right-handed golfers have a left hip that's a little tighter in internal rotation versus external. So you may find that as well. Same with left-handed golfers, just opposite hips. Roll it back over. Nice 5-second hold, let gravity take hold and just stretch you out. All motions are slow and controlled. Don't get in a hurry with it. Remember, this is just the mobility class where you're trying to get improvement of range of motion and just get your body moving better. All right, keep going. 5-second hold. We're at the halfway point. We're going to do 5 more, and then I'll show you from the other angle. Now, if you feel the heels or the feet start to slide a little bit, you can always reset as much as you need to. I do typically like to do this one with shoes on or socks that may have a little bit of grip to them so your feet don't slide too much. That way you're getting a really good stretch in the hips at all times. If you're feeling a little tightness in the lower back, that's okay as well. You may just be set up where your lower back tightness is a little bit more than your hips, and that's okay. You're going to get a slight rotation in the low back, just the nature of this movement. So as you continue with this exercise, your low back should start to move a little bit better, and you'll get a little more stretch in the hips. Make sure, and I can't reiterate this enough, make sure that any of these exercises or yoga poses that we're doing are not causing you pain. If they are, reach out to us and we will provide you with modifications. We never want you to be in pain during any of these exercises. Challenge, sure. Pain, no. Okay, good. Now I'm going to show you from the opposite angle here. So from this angle, again, knees bent up, lower back, upper body, all that staying relatively flat. Widen the feet out a little bit so you can get a little better stretch on your hips and let them roll to the side. You might hear this exercise referred to as windshield wipers because the knees are going this way. But you can call it whatever you want as long as you do them and get some improvement in your hip motion. At this point, the second round of 10, you should really start feeling like you're dropping a little bit further, like you're getting a bit of a deeper stretch into your hips at this point. And again, we're avoiding pain, so don't let it go to that point. If you're getting some pain, shorten your stride a little bit or your drop a little bit. Even small improvements in the range of motion in your hips will transfer to improved swings. You really can get back into your backswing much better if your hips are rotating much better. Also tend to follow through more effectively. Those of you that have low back pain when you play golf or if you play long rounds of golf or multiple rounds of golf, this will actually help to reduce some of the low back tension and the pressure on the low back because now you're getting some motion from the hips that can actually assist with a stiff low back. Almost there. Nice and gentle, nice and slow rotation. Reset the feet if you need to. All right, 2 more on either side. Again, just about a 5-second hold for each one. And last one coming up. You want to push it a little bit to get a little extra stretch, that's all right. Okay, great job. Lauren's going to take you through the next one.
All righty. So if you notice that these exercises and these yoga poses are building one on top of each other. So we're just going to continue this momentum that we've had so far. This next yoga pose is called Modified Pigeon. And so we are going to use a stationary surface like this wall. You can also use the side of a desk. You could put it up against a dresser, just something that is a stationary object. So your low back, those hips should be feeling good. This pose is going to get a little bit deeper into the hips, so continuing to help open things up. We're going to start, come lying down on your backs. Your feet are going to come flush up against the stationary surface, so in this case the wall. And we want to get a 90-degree angle between the hamstrings, the back of the legs, and the calves. All right, so just flip yourself over onto your back, placing your feet onto the wall. And there's not necessarily a graceful way to do that, so take some time, wiggle the hips side to side. You need to scoot yourself forwards or back. Feet are hip distance apart. The arms are down to the side of the body to start. All right, we'll start with the right leg first. So picking up the right leg, we're going to place the right ankle to the top of your left thigh. So right ankle, top of the left thigh. And here, let's go ahead and flex the foot. So the right foot activates, you're drawing the toes back to the right. And taking your right hand, place it to the inside of the right thigh and give just a little gentle pressure away from your body towards the wall. So right here, you might start to feel a little activation through the outside of that right hip. Continuing to apply the steady, consistent pressure of the knee going towards the wall. And again, staying with that same breath you had in those supine twists. So breathing in and out through the nose. And here it might feel nice even to take a little sway side to side. Sometimes the slightest bit of movement can help to open up some of those tight places. So just do what feels right, what feels comfortable here in your body. So we are externally rotating this right hip. Right? You're continuing to feel that stretch. For some of you, depending on the tightness of the hamstrings, the adductors, you may feel this at the inside of that right thigh. You might feel it more in the right glutes. Right? So just wherever your body needs that stretch is where you're going to feel this. A couple of options here. If this is too much, if this is too intense for you, that right hip is really talking, you can walk your left foot higher up the wall. Again, continuing to keep the right foot activated here, keep pressing the right knee away. So the higher the foot, the more passive that stretch will become, right? If you feel like you want just a little bit more, another option instead might be to scoot closer to the wall. Scooting closer, closing that distance, it's going to increase that stretch as you press that right knee away. And a third option could be to come onto the ball of the left foot if you really want to take it up a notch. So just listen to your body, stay there a couple of breaths. You can come in and out of any of those variations. All right, so one more round of breath here wherever you're at. And to come out of this, let's release the right hand from that right knee. Slowly draw the right knee in towards the body. Straighten your right leg, bring the hands behind the leg and just give it a little stretch here. You can point the toes a couple of times, draw them to the face, maybe roll through the ankle, and lower the right foot back down onto the wall. All right, so to move to the other side, I'm going to turn sideways here so you can get just a little different view of what it looks like. All right, so same thing, you're still on your back. Feet against the wall or against that stationary surface, 90 degrees between the calves and the hamstrings. Picking up the left foot, left ankle goes to the top of the right knee. And right away, you engage this left foot. So draw the toes actively back towards the knee. Left hand presses the knee away from you. So staying right here, you're feeling this, again, maybe somewhere out into the glutes, maybe somewhere deeper into that hip, the inner thighs. Option here for a little bit of movement if you want to rock the hips a little side to side. That might feel really nice. And one thing that's worth mentioning, these exercises, these yoga poses, are wonderful for you to incorporate before you might go out onto the green, and certainly after maybe a game, just to help the body open up, help the body relax. So staying here for a few more breaths. Again, externally rotating this left hip open. If you want to, remember you can pick the right foot up if this side is a little too tight, right? You want something a little more passive, you can raise the right foot. That's going to soften this. In contrast, if you want a little bit deeper, scoot your bum closer to the wall, press the knee away from you still further, and then again, you could also rise up onto the ball of the right foot. Important here is that while you may feel intensity through the hips or intensity in this pose, that you relax everything else in the body. We want to find the balance between stillness and this activation, or softness and this activation. So letting the breath here be super easy. Again, breathing in and out through the nose. We're aiming for about 90 seconds here on each side. So let's just take a couple more breaths. And maybe one more breath here. And just like we did on the right side, to come out of this pose, release that pressure to the left knee, so slowly the knee comes back in towards the body. You're going to use the hands maybe to help pick up that leg, straighten the leg up towards the ceiling, hands behind the thigh for support, and just move through that ankle. Maybe roll a couple of circles here, or you can point the toes a couple of times, draw them back. All right, and that is modified pigeon, my friend. From here, Brett is going to take you through the next exercise.
Okay, the next exercise is called open books. You may have tried these in the past or at least seen these in the past. Again, I'm going to show you these from a couple of different angles because I think it helps to give you a little perspective on what it might look like. We're going to do this on both sides, so I'm going to demonstrate on both sides, but you're going to start on whatever side you're most comfortable. Ideally, you have a pillow here to support your head and neck. That way, you don't get any neck strains with your head lying down too far or trying to hold the neck up too much. It doesn't create any additional issues here. Your bottom arm is going to be straight out in front of you. And then you're going to bend both knees up, just like this, about 90 degrees. You'll be about 45 degrees of the hips. Okay? I'm going to show you a couple different ways to do this. You can start out with your hands on top of one another, keeping the elbows straight. And you're going to maintain a straight elbow as you rotate your arm up toward the ceiling. And let your body rotate all the way back, just like opening up a book. You're going to hold that stretch for about 5 seconds. Rotate back. And let your head and upper body rotate with you. Now, another way you can do this, if you're not getting enough stretch as you get to the back of that rotation, you can take your bottom hand, place it on top of the knees. That will keep the knees down. Also, if you're starting to see that you're a little tight in the low back of the hips and you're peeling up a little bit, this is also a good modification. So hand on top, other hand goes nice and straight out. You're going to follow your upper hand as it rotates with your head, so your head gets a nice stretch, your neck gets a nice stretch. And again, utilize a pillow all the way out. Nice 5-second hold. And slowly return to your start position. Okay? So we're going to do that about 5 times on each side, and then I'll show you from the opposite angle. This is an excellent way to get your mid-back rotating and moving better. Earlier I mentioned that the hips are one of the crucial rotatory pieces of the body for the swing. The other major piece is your thoracic spine or your mid-back. We get a lot of rotation through all those segments of the mid-back, and that's really where a lot of us will get stiff just from sitting at a desk all day or depending on what your habits are. The rotation through the thoracic spine is so crucial to create power, to get into your backswing appropriately. It helps with distance. So if we can improve some rotation in the thoracic spine as well as the hips, then you'll really be feeling a lot better. Okay, now we're going to go to the opposite side. Same exact setup. You can either choose to bring your bottom hand on top of the knees, or you can bring it straight out in front of you, and you're going to open the book. Slowly rotate. Now, similar to the last one that we went over, you may actually notice that you're a little stiffer on one side versus the other. And that's okay. Again, that kind of plays into your overall habits through your life and that sort of thing. If you typically turn more to one area than the other. But this is one way where you can start to improve on the stiffer area. You may want to spend a little bit more time on the side that you have more difficulty rotating toward. Or if you have difficulty in one particular aspect of the swing. So the backswing or the downswing, if you notice that you have some trouble there, you worked with a golf pro that said, hey, I'd like to see you get some more motion here, then you can do the rotation of this exercise that correlates pretty well with what they're telling you. While we're on that subject, I do think it's important if you golf a pretty good amount, you're a pretty regular golfer, do think it's important to get a lesson or two, because if you're having any pain or difficulty or discomfort or anything like that in the golf swing, these professionals can really help you dial in some of the swing mechanics that may be creating some repetitive issues or repetitive injuries. So really important to correlate the mechanics of the swing itself with the movement of the body. All right, I'm going to show you from the other angle. So knees bent up, rotate to one side, then the knees here, one arm's going to be down on the ground, and then you're going to keep the elbows straight as you open up. All the way, get a nice stretch. About 5 seconds there, rotate back. Again, if you're starting to see this stuff as you rotate back, take that hand on top, the bottom hand, hold it down, pin it down. And then you can really isolate the thoracic spine a little bit better. You should notice that you're able to get your arms a little closer to the ground as you go. So that rotation should be improving a little bit each time. Make sure if you have any neck problems, pain, stiffness, any of those things, that you're not cranking your neck too far. So if you're following the hand, which is what we want you to do, make sure that if you get to a point that's uncomfortable, don't push into that point. We're not trying to create other irritation by trying to loosen one area. Okay, and the other side. Same setup, knees bent, arms straight out. If you want to pin them. And gently rotate up. 5-second hold. Some of you may get a little click or a pop in the spine. That's not a bad thing. It's just some of those joints moving around a little bit, releasing a little carbon dioxide pressure that tends to build up when we get stiff. Once again, make sure you're not having pain anywhere. If you're having any problems at all, just let us know. All right, 2 more. And last one. Okay, those are your open books. And that will really help with your thoracic rotation. Lauren's going to bring you the next exercise.
All right. How you feeling? You should be feeling hopefully pretty good right about now. Our next yoga pose is cat-cow, and this is a foundational pose in yoga. It is wonderful because we move through full articulation of the spine. And you may also feel certainly a subtle stretch coming through the abdominals as well. To get started, we're going to come to hands and knees. And you want the knees hip distance apart, which means that the knees are just directly underneath those hips. The base of the palm of your hands are going to come right underneath your shoulders. Also, what's important here is that the index fingers point forward. So that will just help with some basic alignment points here. Index fingers forward, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. All right, to get started, we want to find neutral. And what that means is that the back here should be flat, as if someone could place a cup of coffee or a glass of water on the back, that it would be stable. I'm pressing my hands down into the ground. There's the slightest drawing up of the abdomen, so a little contraction there. And we just want to hold that feeling stable, taking just one breath in and out through the nose. And on your next inhale, let the low belly start to come down towards the ground. The sternum comes closer towards the creases of your elbows as you feel an arc to the low back. So it's like your bum is lifting up towards the ceiling, the chest, the belly towards the ground. The slightest lift of your chin forward. So this is cow pose. And on your exhale, then we reverse that. Tailbone starts to come down towards the ground, chin comes into the chest, and we round big time through the back, like a cat stretching maybe in a window here. So this is cat lift. And again, inhale, low belly towards the ground, sternum towards those elbows, slight lift of the chin for cow pose, and then exhale, reverse cat tuck. So depending on how you're feeling right now, some of you may feel this as we come into cow pose. Here's where the stretch can come in through the abdominals, right? So hold that pause there, feeling everything in the body that you're experiencing, and then rounding softly here, tailbone down, chin to chest. We want to think about spreading wide across the upper back, so across the shoulder blades. You may feel a big stretch there, maybe even into the low back. And again, you're moving here with the rhythm, the pace of your breath. Right, so keeping it smooth and steady, breathing in and out of the nose. Let's do just a couple more. Good, and one more here. Come back to that neutral table, right? That flat back. And then walk the hands in. Let's have just a little seat. Give yourself a break. We're going to do another set of those. So you may feel this, like I said, big time at different parts of the back. For some of you, just wherever the body needs some more of that opening, some more of that stretch is where you will feel this the most. A couple of things to mention. When we come into cow pose, we don't ever want to crank the neck, right? So that should just be just the slightest little lift of the chin. And another thing too is to keep the shoulders stable. You'll notice that when we practice, we're not bouncing in and out of the shoulders, right? The move is coming through the torso. We're articulating the spine. So coming back in, let's do just a few more. Again, knees are hip distance, hands under the shoulders, flat back. An option here, if you want, is to tuck the toes under as well. Get a little stretch through the arches of the feet. And we'll get started with the inhale. Draw the belly down towards the ground. Remember, getting that low back arc. Sit bones high to the sky, slight lift to the chest. And then cat tuck. So release the tops of the feet to the ground, chin into chest, round through the back. And again, inhale for cow pose, maybe the toes tuck under. Exhale to round cat tuck. You're breathing in and out through the nose. Inhale, cow pose. You may also hear this called cat lift. And exhale to round cat tuck. Let's do just a couple more here. Big breath in through the nose. Maybe the eyes are closed. Exhale and round cat tuck. And last one. Inhale, cow pose, big stretch, big, big, big. Nicely done. One more time for that cat tuck. And coming back, finding that neutral position, pausing there, walk those hands in. Nicely done. All right, Rhett is up next to take you through your next exercise.
Okay, once again, these exercises do play off of one another, so this will be in a similar position called quadruped, which is the hands and knees position that she just showed you. So what we're going to do here, it's called thread the needle. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to set up in the hands and knees position, and we're going to take one hand, place it behind the head, and then the elbow is going to be nice and straight, parallel with the ground, okay? What you're going to aim to do is take the point of the elbow, think of it as a needle, and you're going to bring that needle through the hole that the arm and leg make on the opposite side, and then back up, okay? This is going to improve a little bit of shoulder mobility. It's going to also improve some thoracic mobility. So just like we worked on earlier, rotation, back and forth. It's also going to help with the opposite shoulder where you're planting. You'll get some improvement in rotation there as well. So you're going to guide it through, take it to a nice stretch point, about 5 seconds, and come all the way back out. Make sure to bring that arm up when you come back out of that. Do about 5 of these on each side, and then I'll show you from the opposite angle. This also does help with the core a little bit. You do want to engage the abdominals as you pull through to get the elbow toward the hole. All right. We're going to switch over. Hand behind the head, elbow straight out. You want to get your arm parallel to the ground. You're going to try to bring that elbow to the hole. It's good rotation through the spine, the neck, shoulders. And again, we talked about all the benefits of that thoracic spine rotation, the ball swing itself. Having that good external rotation of the shoulders really helps as well, especially getting into your backswing, getting the club nice and high. That really makes a difference. Back up one more. Good. I'll just show you from the other side. So you may also get a little stretch here through the lats. could get a little stretching around the actual shoulder itself. All of these areas are great to get stretched out, so it doesn't really matter exactly where you're feeling that stretch. Just make sure that you're not pushing it to the point of pain. All the way back up, elbow up. We're going to do 5 of those, about a 5-second hold each. This is number 3. Two more. And last one here. Good. Switch up. Hand behind the head, elbow up, nice and parallel. Drop it down, bring it through the hole. Back up. About a 5-second hold each time. You should feel a little bit more working in terms of your strength and stability here. So you're going to get a nice stretch, but also going to get the benefits of getting some of those muscles working. And last 2. Last one here. 5-second hold. And back out. Good. You should feel nice and loose at this point. We're getting close to the end here. Lauren's got another one for you.
All right, so this next yoga pose is actually called Thread the Needle. So very similar to what you just did in that exercise with Rhett. The difference between this yoga pose and that exercise, however, is this is a passive hold. So where that was dynamic movement, this is a passive hold. It's going to give you the opportunity, your body the opportunity to settle a little bit more. And when the body settles, it gives us it's like it tells the mind, tells those muscles, you can relax and we can open, we can stretch, get a little bit deeper. So we are going to start in similar fashion in that quadruped position. So coming around here, you want your knees underneath your hips, hands underneath the shoulders, index fingers forward, finding that neutral table. We're going to start with the left side. So the left arm comes directly out to the side of the body. Your hand is in line with your shoulder, palm down. As you inhale, reach the the left arm up towards the sky, lean back to the right, and with your exhale, then bring the left arm under the right, coming down slowly here until the left shoulder, your left ear, comes down onto the ground. The right hand will come out as a little stability, as a little brace here. All right, real quick. If this is really uncomfortable, or if you find that you're like, Lauren, there is no way I can get all the way down, it's A-okay. Just grab a pillow or a rolled up towel or blanket and place under the shoulder or under the head, something that's going to help bring the ground a little bit closer to you. All right, so we're here, head and shoulder is down, right hand is off to the side. The back of the left hand is pressing gently into the ground, palm is up. All right, your hips are over the knees. And we're just gonna stay here for a moment and give yourself that opportunity to settle. Take a couple of breaths in and out through the nose. And I want you to scan through your body. Ask yourself, where do you feel this? What do you feel? Like Rhett mentioned in that previous exercise, you might start to feel this a little bit through the lat, maybe coming in a little bit more to that side body here. For some of you, you may feel even something a little bit across the hips, right? A-okay. So you can stay right here. This may be enough for you. But if you want to play with going perhaps a little bit deeper, exploring a little bit of movement, take your right hand and slowly begin to straighten through the right elbow, reaching that right arm forward. All right, so we're getting a little bit deeper now. Across this time the right side of the body, through maybe that right lat. You might feel this come into the shoulder. An option here, if this is enough, stay here. If you want to go still further, begin to walk the left hand, or excuse me, begin to walk the right hand over to the left. So taking it slow, we never want to be quick movement. You want to slow things down, really listen to what the body is telling you. And as I walk my hand, my right hand more towards the left, you might find that you start to get a little bit deeper into some rotation. So now that right side of the body might start to lift just a little bit higher up towards the ceiling, right? So we can get a little bit deeper, still pressing the back of the left hand into the ground. And go to that place where any more is going to be too much, but any less just isn't enough. And stay wherever that place is at for a couple of breaths. Right, becoming conscious, you may notice you've shifted perhaps a little bit of weight over to the left side. See if you can bring some more evenness through the hips so weight comes maybe a little bit back more to the right side. Taking a couple more breaths here. All right, and if that right arm is extended, let's bring it back down. We're bringing the right hand back underneath that right shoulder and slowly press into the right hand, unwind your left arm, reach it back up towards the sky, give it a little shake, come back through that neutral position. All right, little wag of the tail here, we'll move to the other side. All right, so this time right arm comes out to the side of the body, hand in line with the shoulder. As you inhale, reach the right arm up, opening up across the chest, and exhale, right arm under the left, threading the needle here, coming down right shoulder, right ear to the mat. Again, grab your prop if you need it, readjust through the hips, and pause for a few breaths. Just like Rhett said, you may find that one side of the body is a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more open than the other. So just observe. And then again, the option is to stay right here. This may be enough for you, that gentle pressure of the back of the right hand into the ground. But if you want to go further, left arm starts to straighten, the left hand comes forward. Again, as you add movement, go slow and pause to just notice how it feels in the body. So often we just move in and out of positions without really noticing what it feels like. So I invite you to slow it down, really listen, tune in. There's a natural intelligence that is in your body. We just have to pause to hear it. All right, so if you're continuing to walk that left hand over to the right, you're going to find a little bit more space for some rotation. Again, pressing the back of the right hand into the mat or into the ground here. See if you can shift some of that weight. If it's gone over to the right side, readjust, bring it back, level pelvis here, level hips. Really opening things up. Stay for a few more breaths. You know, all of these mobility moves, these exercises, these poses that we are going through will translate into that swing. So know that this work that you're doing for your body is so, so good. Let's take just another breath here. All right, to come out, if that left arm is up past the head, let's bring it back down slowly. Left hand gently presses into the ground under the shoulder as you unwind that right arm. Bring it all the way up. And hand comes down. little bit of movement here side to side with the hips, maybe even another cat-cow if that would feel good. And that is thread the needle. So Rhett's coming back, another exercise for you.
Okay, this is the last golf fitness exercise. You will need a couple of things. A cushion or a pillow will be perfectly fine just to kind of protect the knees for this exercise. And your favorite golf club. I'm using a 7-iron, but you can use whatever you like. We're going to use the golf club to actually assist you a little bit with this exercise. So this is a nice one to finish up with because it's really going to work on shoulder mobility, thoracic mobility, hip mobility. It's going to work on engaging the core. Lots of different things are at play here. So it's a nice culmination of all the stuff that we've been working on in part. So what I'd like you to do is you're going to come down into what we call a half kneeling position here. So this is what we call step outs, half kneeling with rotation. Now I'm going to show you easier versions of this, and I'm going to show you the more challenging versions of this as well. You can kind of find out where you're at on that spectrum, what challenges you, but also you don't want to do anything that's creating pain or creating too much irritation or anything like that. So know your body, find out what your limitations are, work within that, and then as you start to improve, you may want to transition the way that you're doing this exercise. So first off, you're going to take the golf club and you're going to place it on the head. You basically want to get the arms at about a 90-degree angle. Okay, so you may need to extend the arms out a little bit, or you may need to bring them a little closer to the head, but about 90 degrees at the elbow. So if you have a mirror, you might be able to check that. Then you want to place the hands over the head. You want to extend all the way up. So you want to get that nice and tall. We want to try to keep this golf club over the head at all times. Try not to pitch the body or the club too far forward. Now, some of you may not have enough extensibility through the shoulders, and if that's the case, you may want to come down a little bit lower, or you may even want to just rest on the head. And if that position is a little more comfortable and this is too much, that is perfectly fine. You may also want to use an alternative where you just rest behind the body here, okay? And if that's not comfortable because you got some shoulder issues, then we have this option here where you can just rest the club across the body. So lots of modifications depending on where you're at with your body setup, okay? So we're going to start out with it above the head in half kneeling. The easier version of this is to rotate your body to the open side. What I mean by open side is the knee that's down is the open side. This is the closed side. So you're going to rotate to that side. You get a nice stretch here in the hips, stretch in the shoulders, stretch in the mid-back as well. And then you're going to come back after about a 5-second hold, okay? You can simply repeat that where you're working just to the open side, 5-second holds, and doing about 10 repetitions. You can also go to the closed side for a little more challenge. That's going to give you a good bit more stretch. So you can simply work to the closed side, or you can alternate open to closed. When you do that, you're going to notice that your knee is going to want to move quite a bit. Try to do your best to keep your foot planted and keep your knee relatively straight. It's going to move a little bit, that's okay, but you want to try to keep it relatively straight. Okay? For those of you that would like a little bit more challenge, you can actually do a step out with this as well. Okay? I'll show you what that looks like. So I'm going to remove my cushion just because it's a little easier to do this motion. It's more dynamic. So you're going to start out in this position, step out, rotate, rotate, down, up, rotate, rotate. Okay? Now you can do 5 seconds on each end, or you can do just repetitive motion. If you're doing the step outs and you're trying to get it a little bit quicker, there are advantages to that as well. Okay? So you just have to find out where your body's at for this particular exercise, find out what's challenging but comfortable, and it can really improve shoulder mobility, thoracic mobility, hip mobility, and core strength. Okay? Excellent exercise for you. Most of that is instruction, but if you find out where your body's at, try about 10 repetitions and a 5-second hold, or a couple of sets of 10 and a 5-second hold there. And that'll be a great one for you. Okay? Lauren's going to finish us up.
Alrighty, last yoga exercise. So what we are going to practice next is extended pyramid. Now I have 2 dumbbells here because for this pose we want to use some type of prop. Ideally or normally, like in a class, we would use standard yoga blocks. If you don't have those, I'm using these dumbbells just to show you that you can really use just about anything here that's going to help bring the ground a little bit closer to those fingers. So if you don't have dumbbells, grab a couple of books. You could turn those up. Just we want something that's similar in height. All right, to get started, let's come to a kneeling position. Kneeling position here. And I am going to bring my props forward, stepping the right foot forward. So props either side of that right foot. All right, and you'll notice here that I've got my knee is directly stacked over my right ankle. All right, all 5 toes point forward. Your hands are onto your props. Walk the left knee back, tuck your left toes under, and pick up your left knee. All right, your back leg should be super straight and long. And we want to try and bring the hips. If your butt's up in the air like this, let's draw the hips a little bit closer to the ground so you have a nice long line from the heel of that left foot all the way up the back line of the body out of the head. All right, so we've got the hands onto the props, fingertips here, keeping that right knee over the right ankle. And slowly, as you exhale, let's draw the right hip back. You're straightening through the right leg. All right, so as you do this, we're staying up onto the ball of the left foot. And you should be feeling right here with this straight right leg, perhaps a big stretch to the back of the right thigh, getting a little bit deeper into the hamstrings here. For some of you, you may feel this more in the calf. I actually feel a little bit to the outside of the shin. So just wherever that your body needs it, right? But I'm pulling the right hip crease back. The left hip pulls forward. I'm drawing the navel in towards my spine as I breathe. So big breath in and out through the nose. And then we're going to add some movement here. So as you inhale, you bend to the right knee, coming in through this high lunge, feeling a stretch now across the top of that left hip. And as you exhale, straighten the right leg. So moving in and out, slow, controlled movement with the breath in. Exhaling, straightening that right leg. Good. Inhaling, coming back into this. Opening up across that left hip flexor. Flexors. Good. Pull that right hip back. A couple more times here, and you're just moving with the breath. So nothing fancy about this. Good. Let's take just another 1 or 2 here. You're pressing that right big toe down into the ground as well, grounding through the inside of the right foot so that you're not just rolling off to the pinky edge of the right foot. All right, so coming back in, hold steady here. To come out, just lower the back knee down. And we'll bring the right knee in, step the left foot forward, grab those props. If you don't need your props, you can always just have fingertips onto the ground, tuck the right toes under, pick up the right leg. And again, before you start any movement, this nice long line through the right side of the body. Draw the left hip crease back. The right hip will pull forward slightly. Draw the shoulders away from your ears so you're not scrunched up in the neck. And the same thing, we're going to start to add movement with your breath. So when you exhale, straighten your left leg. Send your left hip back. Draw the right hip forward. You'll notice that I'm on the ball of the right foot, so the right heel is lifted. And we add that movement here, just taking it slow and smooth with the breath. Inhaling forward, keep the knee over the ankle. Exhale, draw the hips back. And again, inhaling forward. So what you don't want to do is this number right here, right, with the hips. So this is a slow, controlled movement. Drawing that left hip back, finding some length. Let's take just a few more rounds here. Easy breath in and out through the nose. Good. And last one, send those hips back. And as you come forward, we'll pause here, lower that right knee down. Send the left knee back to meet the right, little sway of the hips. And that is extended pyramid in the end of our first class. So,
Okay, that's it for the golf mobility class. So congratulations on finishing that. If this was your first time going through it, hopefully you're feeling a little bit looser, a little bit better in the body. If you've gone through this several times, then hopefully you've been able to actually get out on the golf course and see the differences this is making in your body and the way that you're feeling, whether that's before the round or after the round or actually during the swings themselves. So congratulations either way. Hopefully you'll continue to work this into your weekly routines and start seeing the benefits of this. We'd like you to continue to work with the rest of the series, so hopefully you're enjoying it.
and remember to keep an eye out. We will be sending you a separate email that is going to include the instructional videos for each one of the exercises and each one of the yoga poses that were included in this first class, in this first mobility class. So remember, you have full access to these. You can watch the class as many times as you want. You can go over these instructional videos as many times as you want to make sure that everything is as clear as it needs to be to help you find the best mobility that you can in your body with these exercises and poses. And as always, just to continue to reiterate, if you have questions, we're here for you, accessible via email. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to seeing you in the next class, week 2.
Our emails will follow this, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Club PT. Thank you.
Bye.